Hello and welcome to the sewing studio. Today I'm going to show you how to make this block, which is called Battenberg, and we make this using jelly roll strips. So it's really easy, not too much cutting. As always, I like quick easy projects. So how do you do it? You need 2 jelly roll strips to start with, and we join those together, right sides together, and we join it using 1/4 of an inch seam, and we go right to the bottom. So here's one I've done earlier, and then I've set the seam and I've pressed it so my seam is flat. It's really important that your seam is flat, and you'll see why in a moment. Now the jelly roll strips are 2.5, so we're going to cut this at 2.5, and we're going to do that twice for one block. So 2.5, let's just line that up there, another 2.5, and then I'm going to go to the machine and I'm going to sew these two together. So we're going to go opposite corners, so purple to purple diagonally, green to green diagonally. And the reason we do this is so you can see here that your seam is going flat that way and it's going flat the opposite way. So you want to butt your 2 seams together, and this is what gives you this lovely perfect point in the centre. So we're just going to go over to the machine. Some people might want to put a pin in there to hold it, but it's quite a small piece, so I don't actually bother to put a pin in. So I'll come to the machine and I'm going to sew those 2 together. So all the way to the bottom, and again, if you were making lots of these, you could chain piece them for quickness. So I'll come back over to the table and show you. That's what we've got. So you give it a good press, and you're pressing your seam flat, so you can see how your seams have gone. So then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take another strip. So I'm going to use a lighter colour. Here's another jelly roll strip. Now some people would cut these so that they've got the size already, but what I tend to do is I tend to join them and cut them afterwards, because I sometimes find if I've got lots that I've pre-cut, I might be just a fraction out. So I'd rather sew it, flip it back and cut it. I'll show you what I mean. So back to the machine. And then I flip it back. So again, we're going to set the seam there, and then we'll flip it back over like that. And then what I do is I take my ruler and I line it up with what I've already done and just trim it off like this. And I find that I'm more accurate that way, because occasionally with jelly roll strips, you do get a little bit of stretch in them. So that's the first thing you do. And then you do the same that side and top and bottom. So here's one I've done earlier. So that's what it would look like to the next stage. And then the next stage is you take a different colour. So I'll probably go with this lovely purple again. And I'm going to sew that down there, round the side, round this side, round this side. So you can either go side to side, or you can do top and bottom and then put the side on, so that you've got another strip. So therefore it ends up like that. And that is your Battenberg block. You can just join all your blocks together. You can make it as big as you want. With a jelly roll, it'll probably make enough for a single bed quilt. Or you could, if you wanted to make it bigger, you could leave these apart and then you could sash them with another colour. So for example, if you had a creamy colour, you could put a sashing in between the blocks to separate them, and it would also make your quilt bigger. If you wanted it bigger again, you could put a border on it. So lots you can do with a jelly roll, and it's a really quick, easy, simple block to do. So have fun, and I look forward to seeing you next time here in the sewing studio.